options, you know. I'm also kind of known for recommending people carry things that are, you know, not specifically weapons, but tool orientated. These are some ridiculous options, I guess. You know, what are they based on? Outside of the Elvia knife, which is probably, you know, again, biased. It's a design that my mom came up with, and it's also something I carried with me for a while. I go from the Elvia knife to Tracker Dan's Blood Shark, which in my opinion is probably one of the best knives out there. It's one of my favorite designs. He really outdid himself with this specific design. Again, a lot of people are bootlegging or copying some of the design features on this, but he is number one, probably the best sheath maker out there. He's very influential. Most of the sheaths right now in the market are based and or influenced by his sheaths in some way, shape, or form. Again, he came up with this clip design himself. I think he used to cut badge clips in half and modify them slightly. That's where these came from. Another aspect of the fact that another aspect of why I like his sheaths so much is that he was, you know, basically going from a combat setting in some of his experiences to civilian clothes, to going to sleep at night in shorts, to then going off and putting something on a plate carrier. These are very much designed to be taken and stuffed down your pants or your clipped to your boxers at night. Take those off, you can slip it onto your sleeve and a jacket if you're going to go ninja prone or something. Take it off, put it in a plate carrier. Basically, you can move this around a lot. It's designed to fit a lot of carry methods and ways. Another big aspect of some of his knife designs again, he's very influential. Basically, he puts a lot of effort into the sheaths, which is great. Half of the knife is a sheath. I mean, it's not going to be any good to you it's not with you when you need it. So he goes very low profile with his sheath making. This one specifically is a maroon one. He only makes these for friends of his, and I'm very lucky to call him a friend and also to have one of these. If you notice, the cordage is, this knotted cordage is also something that a lot of people are replicating now. I've never seen anybody do anything like this till I saw him do it, and he's kind of influencing other people out there. Very grippy, very specific to holding the knife in place in your hand, and also, you know, not that grippy that you can't switch grips if you're doing something utilitarian as you move around. I'm not going to go into steels or grinds or sharpening or edges and stuff like that. There's better people out there that could talk about some of these things. I'm a monkey and I use knives, and I'm just going to talk about the functionality of these. All around is probably one of the best utilitarian blades that I carry with me. Again, utilitarian. Can you use it to stab somebody in the neck? Of course you can. But specifically, I use my knives for a lot of things. And this is probably one of my favorite all-around utilitarian knives. The Blood Shark. And these are some of the other things that I'm known for, like ditch option knives. Again, utilitarian in nature, so they have a narrative to themselves. They're made for kitchens. They're made for food. They're made for processing things you put in your mouth. That's what they're for. And some of them actually come with colors that are not usually found in tactical knives. So they have a narrative all to themselves. We're going to talk about some of the things that I look for in a knife of this nature that you can use for your fruit, you can use for a steak, and maybe use on somebody later on. So this guy, it's a Nutrioli knife. This is a brand of cooking oil in Mexico. I actually stole this from my aunt's kitchen in Colima. Why? Well, I usually don't travel with any of these things. These are cool knives, but you know, again, I don't travel internationally with anything of this nature. Why? Everybody knows what they are. There's a lot of people that can look them up online. They're very specialized tools. So carrying around something like this is pretty cool, but maybe internationally might not be that cool, narrative-wise. I mean, how it looks, tactical nature of it. So every now and then I just go and pick up something like this. I stole this from my aunt's kitchen. Sorry, Aunt, if you're watching this. I'll bring it back eventually. Things that I look for in a knife of this nature. Well, number one, sheaths are pretty easy to make. Fold cardboard over, duct tape, electrical tape, stuff down pants. That's the easiest way to make them. Fold a little bit of extra cardboard over the tip to protect it from stabbing through. That's one way. Another easy way is basically just putting a bandana over it and stuffing it down your pants. I'll show you that at the end as far as a way that you can carry these. But what am I looking for in these? A straight knife, an edge, solid handle, and a way of verifying exactly how deep the tang is on the blade, just to know if it's a strong knife or not. With this guy, it's probably right around here, and the way I know this is that I can use the magnet on my scapular to see and gauge exactly where some of that might be. So it's right around there. It's a small trick you can do with your scapular, right? That's one way. You can put it up to the light. That's another one if the handle is light enough. But specifically, most of these knives, tang's going to be probably somewhere up here. What does that mean? Well, it means the strength of this is going to be not that. I mean, you're not going to be able to use it as a pry bar, but for going into tissue, you don't need a lot of pressure, but you do need a good grip on it and a good purchase on it. So this is where actually knowing how to grip some of these and actually having the experience of testing a blade or a knife out on an organic medium like a pig, like we do in some of these classes, come into play. That experience is transfers over to the way you pick something of this nature. So that's one way you can see if, Another way is basically buying something that is very common out there, taking it apart to actually learn how some of these things are actually built. Another way is to pick something that has a full tang. Chicago cutlery, steak knife, a paring knife, I mean. This one was actually sourced in Mexico City. A friend of mine took me to a very nice place and I stole their knives because that's who I am. One thing that immediately caught my attention about this specific one is it has 3 bolts on the handle and it's basically a full tang blade. So it's pretty strong, quality knife. It is very much a utilitarian kitchen knife, so there's that. The only thing that will make it tactical is you put it in a sheath that looks tactical. So this sheath, somebody made this sheath for this specific thing. It's cool looking, but it's probably not something I would carry with me. Interesting feature that this guy has and this guy doesn't. This angle on knives leads to things getting actually stuck. It collects material, it collects clothing there. It's not something you would want for multiple stabs basically on a medium. So this will be in danger of getting snagged or caught. And also it has the danger of being able to split at the handle. This guy, not so much. It's actually been tested. You can actually see a little bit of the warping on the tip on this one. I don't know if you can catch that detail. This one was actually tested out several times by stabbing it in and out of a pig skull. This is the way we test tip strength and also people being able to actually know how to grab this in a really tough altercation. So this guy was tested, so if anybody's looking for a tested, proven knife that is good for fruit, steaks, and maybe the eventual attacker, this one is pretty good to go. Finally, I have this ridiculous Hello Kitty knife. Why Hello Kitty? Well, one, these are actually pretty good steel. We've tested out a bunch of these. We bought a bunch of these as a joke and actually handed it out to some people that I was working with on a contract. And everybody was actually carrying these. They were surprised at how people, if you pull these out, cut open things with them, people weren't alarmed or shocked about the presence of a knife in their environment. They were actually laughing at the fact they were Hello Kitty knives, and then all of us were carrying our own Hello Kitty knives. Will these kill you? Yes, they will. They'll stab right through your chest. They'll stab right through your face. Tested these a bunch on the pig carcasses. It's an interesting example of something that carries a narrative that is completely different from the reason you're carrying it, basically. It's not a tactical looking knife. People were actually saying, oh, that's a cute knife. Can I buy one for me daughter? They were saying all this random shit about them. They are not weapon. They don't look like weapons, but you can use them as a weapon. Anything's a dildo if you're brave enough, is the old adage. These did amazing in testing. And specifically, when I handed them out to a bunch of people who were working on a contract somewhere in South America, most of the people that would pull these out would get not fear, but laughter. And, they would discount them as a threat because of how they look. But if you notice, they're pretty much, they're enough, basically, if you need something.